Hello, this is Becky from the Marks Group, welcoming you to our monthly Goldmine Tips and Tricks webinar. As you know, each month we post new tips to the website. On the last Tuesday of each month, we review them by webinar. If you're not getting the Marks Group newsletter or you're watching this on our YouTube channel, please go to marksgroup.net and sign up. You can check out our past posts while you're there. I have chat enabled, so if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I may leave some questions to the end so we can dive a bit deeper after we've run through each tip. So let's get started. This month's Goldmine tips are going to be looking at how to add a picture to the GM Plus View tab, and also how to display directions using Google Maps on the GM Plus View tab. And then finally, we're going to end it with creating a group based off of a filter. So we'll get started here by taking a look at how to add pictures to the GM Plus View. Many times you may need to quickly view a picture, whether it could even be a picture of a document, could be a picture of a house if you're maybe doing property, which is what we're going to do in our example today. Could be a picture of the people so that the front desk can verify they are who they say they are, but delivery people, stuff like that. The first step to displaying a picture here in the GM Plus View is to, on the Links tab, create a link to the picture you want to see. And then the second step is to create the GM Plus View. This does take a little bit of code, but if you go out to the tips on the website, the code is there. You can also pause the recording and you'll see that as well. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the Links tab. Whatever photos you're going to be using, I recommend creating a folder to store everything in so they're all in the same place, whether it's in like a picture folder for each individual contact or whether it's just a folder of pictures. It makes it easier for finding and for sharing. You do want it to be on a shared drive that everybody has, because if somebody doesn't have permissions to the drive the picture is on, those people would not be able to view the picture. So putting it in your Goldmine folder sometimes is a good idea. That way you know everyone will be able to have access to the file. So from the Links tab, we're going to right click and we're going to choose New. And go ahead and you do want to kind of choose like a document name or something like that. For this instance, we're going to just go ahead and name it Client Property Photo. We're going to track the property that people have in there. So after that, the file name, you're basically just going to click the Browse button and you're going to go out. I have mine stored in a folder on the Goldmine drive called Client Property Photos. This is the Smith Castle, so I'm going to just select that, click Open. And now I have my linked document record. We have our name and we have where the location of that photo is, or that image. Click OK, and then it goes ahead. It'll save the record here, and a good way to make sure you do have a good connection to the link is you will see the picture over here in preview. Okay, the second step is to configure your GM Plus View, and to do that, we go into Web, Setup, GM Plus View. I have a couple here already that we're going to go ahead and look at. Property Photo is the one we're going to look at right now. And to create a new template, you just go ahead and click the New button. You're going to give the template a name, so Client Property Photo, and then you're going to go ahead and add your code. We'll go ahead and use the one I have here. If you want to edit again later, that's what you would do, is click the Edit button. So anytime, whether it's new or being edited, you're going to go ahead, click in the body, and that activates this toolbar here, and then go ahead and click this H. And this is what shows you your source code here. Don't be intimidated by any source code you may see here. Just copy it in, and you'll be able to get this to work. So you can kind of see here, here's our heading. And basically all we are telling this to do is we want to look for a linked image. It is called the client property photo, and it's going to be the one linked to that record. So this already knows that it wants to get the client property photo record for the client that we're looking at on the GM Plus view. So after you've copied this in, if you've changed the name, so maybe it's client portrait, maybe it's whatever it is, you could take this code that you see here. You could take the code that is in the tip, and you could just go ahead and change right here the document name. And this alt is if it doesn't show, or if they didn't have a picture or something, it's just going to go ahead and show client property there. This will tell you the border around the picture. This kind of gives you the size, stuff like that. So when we are done with that, you go ahead and save, and then close out. When it's selected over here, you can click, and it should populate with the records you have open so that you can test it here as well. But when you're done, go ahead and set your default view to be your property photo, and click OK. And now, when we go to the GM Plus View tab, you will see that property photo. So you could be working on history or whatever, and then you can just plop right in there and see your photo that you linked to the contact. The next GM Plus view we're going to look at is putting in Google directions. The nice thing about this is it will go ahead and take the address that you wanted, that you want to go find, and you just go ahead and it will send the address of the record, and it will open up in Google Maps. So this one you don't have to create a link because you've already got the address here that will be sent. We're going to go back up to our web, set up GM Plus View. This time we're going to go ahead and look at the directions. You can go ahead and click New. I'm going to go into the one I already have and click Edit. Go ahead and click into the body of it. Notice the top activates, and I can click the H. And here we have some more source code. You can get it from the tip, or you can copy it from here. Make sure you keep all of these ampersand GTs and ampersand amps in there. That is needed for the code so that it sees, as you can see here, basically it says go to Google Maps, and we want to go to address 1, city, state, and zip. So you really need to keep those in there. And the list location basically means this contact record. The loading here is just something that will display while it is going out to the Google Maps. So after you have this code in here, you go ahead and you save it, and you close out. Go ahead and set your default view to directions. You can see it already has populated some in my preview window. Go ahead and click OK, just like the other one. And then we're going to go ahead and refresh. And we'll go over to here and we'll refresh this. And now you can see that Google Maps has loaded. It not only has what you would see in the web browser of it, where over here you would see the actual directions, but over on the left you'll actually see the map. It's not populating all the way, but you would be able to see that. And you can zoom. That's kind of what I'm doing right now, zooming in. And basically whatever you could do on the web, in your browser, you can go ahead and you can do here in your GM Plus view. And then if you go to someone else, Need to find somebody with an address. If you go to someone else, then it will go ahead and it will look for that. If it can't find it because you don't have an address, it's just not going to go ahead and populate, and you're done. Okay, so that is how to go ahead and create some GM Plus views, one that has a contact records photo or some kind of an image file that you can display, and one is where you can have the address be fed to Google Maps, and you will be able to see the directions to get there. The last thing I want to take a look at with you is how to create a group on a filter. The difference between a group and a filter is groups are static. When you create the group with 10 members, unless you manually remove a member or manually add a member, that group will always have 10 members. A filter, however, is dynamic. That means at any given time you run a filter, it could have different record counts based on the filter's criteria. So if you're going to say, I want the total people, give me a filter of people in New York, and then you get a new client, and next time you'd run it, you would have one more person. Or if somebody moved and changed to another state, then you would have one less. You don't have to manually do anything to the filter. It takes it dynamically from the data. So sometimes when you run a filter, you might want to take a snapshot in time and save that as a group, something like maybe you've worked on a filter to do a mailing, but you want to keep that group for future mailings, and then you'll just maintain that manually. This is a good way to do that. So first off, we're going to go ahead and go through a couple of things. One is create the group. So we're going to go out to Filters and Groups. You're going to click on the Groups tab. And from here, we're going to either choose New Group, or you can right-click and choose New Group. Go ahead and tell it the group name. So we can just go ahead and say Invite Group. You can code it for easy searching. It can be stored under any user. You can just go ahead and choose who that is. What you want to do, because we're building it, we do want the check mark to say Build the Group. If you have a newer version of Goldmine, these are your constant contact syncing settings here. They'll be grayed out if you're not using that. And then next, we're going to go ahead and hit OK. From this wizard, you can define whether you want to create a group based off of activities, pending, history, maybe some detail records. You can also create a group if you had a SQL query open and run. You could create off of that. Tagged records, if we had tagged records going. But we just want to create a group off of a filter that we already have created. So we're going to choose filtered records. Now we can build a filter, or we can actually just go in here and choose a filter. So we can go through and you can pick one. We want to look at some ages. We want to know, when birthdays are. So we're going to click an existing. If you want to build the expression, you would just click on this one and click Build Filter, and it's going to take you to the regular filter window that you're used to over on the Filters tab over here. So we're going to take one we already have. Click Next. You can do a sort field as well for later on if you always want them to be sorted by last name. You can give a reference, have that in there if you'd like to. When you're done, click Next, and then go ahead and click Finish. And we have a new group, and that group has one person in it. And so we now have the Invite group. Like I had said earlier, the groups are static, so you have to manually add them from the Groups tab. So if we go on out to Groups, go ahead and show it. Members. Oh, I'm sorry. So our members tab will track members of groups. So we have a test group here, and maybe I need to remove Mr. Babka from here. So I am going to right click and just say delete. And this isn't deleting the group. This is just deleting the member. Remove this member from the group. Yes. Okay. So we didn't delete the group, although it's not here. We have deleted him from the group, so it does not display on the members tab saying he's a member of it. If we want to add Corey to the new group we just created, we're going to right click, choose new, and then from here we can find our group. That was the invite group. We didn't set a reference, so we really don't have to fill any of this out. We just click OK. And now we know that Corey is the member of the invite group, and there's 2 members in it, including him. All right, so we have covered how to create some cool GM Plus views, one with images, one with directions to the contact reference address. And we took a look at how to create a dynamic filter, or take a dynamic filter and create a static group out of that. So thank you for attending, and we hope you enjoyed and learned a bit more about Goldmine. Make sure to go to marksgroup.net to get the most recent tips. I'll be posting those shortly, and we hope to see you next month when we review those live. Have a great day, and thank you very much.